All right, we're recording. Welcome everyone to the Rink Rat Report Podcast. This is the last episode of 2023. I cannot believe that it's already I can't even believe we're at the year that you have to write out right now is 23/24. We're almost in Brian McCabe year. This is crazy. As always, joined by Jason.
Brian McCabe year is a hilarious way to think about the years. From now on, I'm going to be thinking
year right now.
Yeah, we got to we got to be thinking of these years in Leafs numbers. I cannot wait for 10 years and 5 days from now when it's Austin Matthews' year.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. Hopefully he'll still be playing. But
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's how I think of it. I mean, because a lot of people, it's like, oh, this is my Jordan year because they're turning 23. It's like, that's like, shut up. But
realistically, it should be your Ponikarovsky year. But yes, fair.
It's your Ponikarovsky year, exactly. Or yeah, so this year it's my Taidomi year. I'm gonna get into bar fights. So we had 3 or 4 games this past week. Yeah, 3 games this past week. So we did the Rangers one. Yes. The first game, that was really something. That first game, the Sabres,
and the first game, Sabres,
the Jackets game, and then the Sens game, which was last night. So we're going to talk about those 3 games. We're going to reveal our top 10 Leaf schools of the year. Here's the thing, though. This is not going to be the official list. I'm getting lists from 3 other people. I have 2 of them. I'm waiting on 1 more. And once I get those, we're going to amalgamate them. We're going to run them through the algorithm, which is probably just going to be average ranking of each. And we're going to get as complex as possible with it. And then we're going to put together and we're going to post our Leafs top 10 goals of the year. That's probably going to come out when you're listening this, hopefully today when you're listening to it. But before we get into all that, I want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Manscaped. Step into 2024 with confidence thanks to Manscaped, where resolutions are met and hairs are neatly kept. As the new year approaches, why not make self-improvement a breeze by keeping your body well-groomed? Introducing Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, the ultimate all-inclusive kit designed to help you feel clean-cut and confident as you should. Featuring the Powerhouse Lawnmower 5.0, this next-gen trimmer ensures precision and ease when tackling your toughest hairs. So kick off 2024 with a trim above the rest and use code RINKRAT, that is RINKRAT at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. So what would you say is your highlight of 2023, and what are you looking forward to in 2024, Jason?
Wow, that was an interesting question. My highlight of 2023, Leafs related, I assume, is what we're going to get into here.
I guess you could.
It sounds a little buggered up, a little messed up to say. My highlight was watching that, because I'm a drama guy, was watching that Kyle Dubas press conference unfold, and the next 2 days, that was honestly a highlight for me, because that was just
not winning around for the first time. That 20 years.
I wanted to say that, but I feel like I'd get made fun of too much to say that. So I kind of want to go with the reality TV angle of it. And I mean, just the conversations that were had around this. This was arguably one of the biggest, most public firings / letting go of / not re-signing a GM ever. I think maybe that might be a crazy thing to say, but it felt like it was a pretty big ordeal when it happened. The vitriol, I was feeling the emotions that overcame me watching that and hearing it all play out. It was a crazy week. So that was probably my highlight Leafs related thing of the season, just because I'm a reality TV loser, mag TV guy. I just live for that kind of entertainment, and that's the kind of stuff that's not that you can't script out,
Well, I guess you could. I don't know. Maybe the NHL is scripting this stuff. I'd say winning a round. So manscaped.com, promo code RINKRAT at manscaped.com. That was actually part of the ad. They asked us to say that.
All right.
Share some lighthearted humor. Yeah, I'm going to keep my pubes extra short this coming year. a pubeless year. Let's get into it. The Buffalo game. I want to go through that one first because we didn't get to tee off on the Leafs after that one.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the Buffalo game?
It was just a crazy game overall. Like crazy bad. Like I don't even know. I kind of rid these games from my memory pretty quickly when we lose in this sort of fashion. I hate the way we went out where it was just like just giving up goal after goal after goal. My immediate takeaway though is that Samsonov is fucking cooked, man. That guy is
he's cooked.
It's bad. Like it's way worse than I expected. Way worse. And like honestly, I get why they pulled him, but at this point, we've done this. We've gone through this enough times. Like, I know this is like a rant, but we've gone through this enough times last year where we pulled our goal. Like, we pulled, oh my God, we pulled, Matt Murray, and had the backup come in. And, like, listen, that guy is likely going to get torched. So, like, if the game's already out of hand, fuck the goalie, man. Just leave him in. Maybe that's an asshole take. Why not? Listen,
depends. It depends on what it looks like out there.
Your job and stop the puck. Like,
yeah, obviously. Okay, so if you're not going to do the job, someone else has got to come in. Martin Jones got left hung out to dry. 100%.
For sure.
In most circumstances, I wouldn't have because that was just okay. You pelted Martin Jones in that one when you really should have been resting him. However, when you're giving up goals from all over and you look like what Samsonov did after letting in some of those goals, like there was the 5-on-3, there was a double screen and the puck went through and it went in the net. His reaction afterwards where he just like turned like this and kind of went like into the net. After that one, I'm like, okay, this guy is beyond done. Even the Jordan Greenway goal, it was just like every goal was so deflating where it was like, okay, you got to get him out of there and you got to get him like when he faced the media, like the way he just looked and the way he was answering questions, it was like, oof, it just felt like a big air coming out of a balloon there. But listen, like it was a 3-2 game. The Leafs were in that game for sure. They were up 2-1. They were up 2-1 at one point somehow. Their defense also played pretty terrible. Like it wasn't all on Samsonov. Like the second goal, like the backhand goes in. Who was near him? William Nylander did a big old drive-by. Austin Matthews did a big old drive-by. And it was just in the back of the net. Right? So there was that. There was a few other like screens and such, but he let in. There were 3 that just should never, ever be going in the net. And I saw some discourse. Okay, it's not all Samsonov this year. The Leafs defense hasn't been good. Samsonov has an 870. He has some of the worst numbers in the entire league. Antti Ranta, who went on waivers and passed through waivers, is the only one who has worse numbers than Ilya Samsonov. The defense hasn't been great this year. Ilya Samsonov has been absolutely terrible, though.
Yeah.
Right? Someone was like to me, that Greenway goal, was that the worst goal you've ever seen? I'm like, no, he's given up worse this year.
Yeah.
He's given up worse this year. Like, there's just way too many goals. He didn't give up any bad RVH goals, so yay. That's awesome. Because some of those have been terrible this year.
Especially with
shots just going through. It's like, okay, like unacceptable. So he's playing against Columbus, though, I think on Friday.
Okay,
so when you're listening to this tomorrow. Yeah.
That's great. So
is it? He has to play eventually, but
that's great for another thing that I'll reference later on in the show.
Yeah, set your fantasy lineups accordingly.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's gonna look. Like just the way he looked after that Buffalo game, I was like, oof, like
okay, so thought experiment here. If something similar happens to what we saw in the Buffalo game where he gives up, what is it?
He'll be 5 on waivers.
Not even that. 6 in the first 2 periods, halfway through the second period. Do you leave him out there? If you're going to put him on waivers, you
have to. You have to because Jones is starting the next day.
Okay, yeah.
It would take a lot. It would take a lot to pull a goalie when they're starting just the next day, right? So that's where there's that. Like on a different night, then yeah, I would pull him earlier. If there was a game in between, so if there was a day in between the games and he gave up 2 that were kind of questionable, I would pull him right away.
Yeah, fair enough.
Get someone else in there. It always changes the team dynamic.
back-to-back.
It usually changes the team's dynamic, and like you usually see teams start to play a little bit better when you pull the goalie. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it happens. I've seen it so many times where they pull the goalie and then the team starts to kind of wake up because it's like, oh shit, we gotta get moving here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep, makes sense. All right, fair enough. I guess that closes out the Buffalo game. We can move on to the Columbus game, who we're going to be playing next. Our next game. Leafs win 4-1. Any big thoughts on
the Columbus game? I thought Martin Jones played pretty well in that one.
Yeah.
There was the goal that he gave up. Do you remember it? From Justin Danforth.
Oh, yes. Remember him.
Justin Danforth, fun. That's a fun elite prospects page. I'd implore you to go take a look at it. I've repeated it 100 times on this podcast. So, anyways, the Justin Danforth goal. Craig Simpson obviously said, "Oh, too deep in his net." Martin Jones was too deep in his net.
Yeah.
I wish I had the goal on me so I could show. That's too easy of a cop out. Danforth shot that puck from pretty much the top of the top of the crease. You need to have some gap between you and the player. Like, sure, he was a little bit deep. This is why it went in. Danforth takes that puck from the middle. So he has it in the middle, and he puts it, he's leaning towards his left because he's a righty. He's leaning towards his left, and he's moving towards his left, and he puts that puck towards his right. When he does that, Martin Jones becomes a little bit out of position, and he's not centered to the puck. And on top of that, Jones is moving towards his left as well. He's following his body, but he's not in line with the puck. So then when Danforth makes that move from the center to the right, he puts Martin Jones off angle a little bit, and he's able to chip it over his glove. If Jones was centered to that, he would have, and on top of that, Jones dropped his hands a little bit on that. He was not expecting that puck to go high. He was expecting it to go low. So it was the combination of not being quite centered on that puck, and on top of that, not reading the shot properly, which led for it to go into the back of the net. I don't think if he was out any further, it would have been an easy deke because he would have not had a good gap on the forward. So it was, to me, it was just like a cheap cop out where it was like, oh, he's too deep. Yeah. Thanks, Craig. You say that every single game, every single goal. It was deep, sure. It was not why it went in.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair. I mean, yeah. I never really like to go for the announcers there for the goalie analysis stuff because it's more so.
No.
But
this one though, like expected goals were 1.72 to 2.01. Like Leafs were only at 46%. Like Jones had a solid game in that one. I'm surprised by that though. I think it was because of all the 4-on-4 hockey that there was.
Probably, yeah. There wasn't a lot of 5-on-5 minutes. Even just looking through, I forgot. You kind of forget about that, but looking through the natural stat check, only 44 minutes of 5-on-5 time.
And scoring chances for
than normal.
Yeah, scoring chances for it was 23-20 for the Leafs in this one. So I thought they played well. I'm surprised they didn't win the expected goals battle. But when you look at it, so the Leafs in their last 4 games are 1-3.
Yes.
I'm not overly upset because it's only 2 points in 4 games. That's not good at all, obviously. Thanks, mathematician. But when you look at
we jinxed the December Cup. We jinxed it last episode.
Oh yeah, they dropped the ball hard on the December Cup. Ugh. I can't move it to January again. You know how much paperwork that would be if I try to move the November Cup all the way to January? Are you kidding me? But if you start to look, like the people are complaining, okay, the Leafs are winning games, but they're not winning them very well. They're not outplaying the other team. Look at the expected goals, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Look at the expected goals over this 1-3 stretch. So when you go back to the Rangers game, they won the expected goals at 5-on-5 there. Buffalo, obviously, they lost. They sucked. Actually, let's go by scoring chances for. So I like that one more, a little bit more, even though it's the same shit. 51% in the 59% in the Rangers game, 35 in the Buffalo game. Okay. 53.49 against Columbus. And then last night, 52.94. Even last night, expected goals for 55%. They're playing a little bit better hockey than the games that they were, they had to get Joseph Wool to steal for them.
Yeah.
So that's been a little bit encouraging. I mean,
Positive.
Timothy Liljegren's been okay-ish since he got back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
It's just you're not going to get saved by goaltending in this stretch until mid-February. Hopefully Joseph Wool comes back. I don't know how he's going to look. So we'll see. But hasn't been as bad of a stretch as, the record makes it seem. I'm very confident. And we're going to get into what is it we're getting into later. Top 10 goals, and then we're talking about something else, right?
New Year's resolutions. Did you want to do that? Or 3 positives, 3 negatives on the year?
Something like that. Anyways.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. It is disappointing to see, you lost to Buffalo, who's not in a playoff spot, and you lost to Ottawa, who's not in the playoff spot.
Do losing to bad teams matter? Does it matter?
Yes.
That's what.
Yes. So that's where it's going to kill you in the standings. But if you look at the standings, where are the Leafs right now?
They are 3rd in the division with, I believe,
2 points back, 2 games in hand.
Yeah, they're actually technically ahead of the Florida Panthers because of the games to points, the point percentage thing.
The point percentage, they're ahead of them.
Leafs have 625 points, 0.625 point percentage.
Interesting.
And the Panthers have a 0.618 points percentage, and the Leafs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th in the NHL in points percentage. So, and they are actually
it's a little bit of a tough.
They're second in the East. They're second in the East in points percentage too. Or sorry, 3rd in the East in points percentage. So,
and they are 9th in the NHL.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's a tough stretch. 1-3 in your last 4 is obviously a little bit of a tough stretch. However, have you seen who's lost 4 in a row? Vegas. They're a good hockey team. Did you see who lost after being up 4-0 last night? Colorado. They're one of the best teams in the league. So
blew a 4-0 lead. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We'll do
so let's close it out. Last night's game. What do you think of last night's game?
Deflating, but also not that bad, because I think there were so many.
Deflating is a good word.
It's just because the weird thing is there were so many bad bounces. Actually, it felt like Bertuzzi could have had a hat trick that night, and no one would have batted it.
100%.
Right, and just the way that the puck falls, it just doesn't go in. There's literally, I don't think I've ever seen an instance where a player had multiple opportunities with essentially stick on puck, obviously tied up and a lot of sticks to fight through, but stick on puck with literally the goaltender at the side of the net, outside of the net. And it's just bad bounce doesn't go in. It's just craziness stuff, right? Maybe that's copium,
that happened.
but that's basically what happened. And it's you know what? 1 or 2 of those go in. 1 goes in. It's a completely different game. And then I also
have those games.
And just this isn't a knock on Martin Jones, just something that I noticed because you've put me onto it. 1 bad RVH goal. Other than that, I thought he played well.
Well, it was not. He wasn't in the RVH.
He wasn't in the RVH.
It was a shot from behind the net that banked off him and in. That was just a bad goal.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I mean, you're getting Hopefully, maybe if we start calling him JS O'Ban Jones, he'll start to play better. But that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping we get out of him somehow. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but you know,
all I said was a 905 by the end of the year, and I'm happy. I'm more than happy. So, at a 914 now. But hopefully.
One other thing I noticed in this game, it's not loading. Oh my god. I thought the third line looked pretty good in terms of generating chances, generating looks. I really think Max Domi's speed did a number on Ottawa. I really don't think Ottawa defends the neutral zone very well at all. They defend the neutral zone very badly. So that's where Domi was able to create more plays through the neutral zone, get more speed, get more offensive zone time. But I cannot find the numbers from how they actually did. So I cannot.
As a line, last game, they were pretty good, like you said. Open. They were pretty good. I have them at. They played 7 minutes together at 5-on-5. 15 Corsi for, 1 against. So we're
wow.
talking about this third line being Jekyll and Hyde. This night was obviously more Jekyll, no Hyde. 9 scoring chances. Them not scoring is actually a damn shame looking at these numbers, because they were peppering. They were peppering.
Yeah, they played pretty well. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, Kiefer Bellows, we're going to call him up and send Robertson down." I think you're a complete, like, you just haven't watched any hockey. You don't know what you're talking like that. That makes you sound silly. I'm sorry. Kiefer Bellows is 3 years older than Nick Robertson. He's a point a game in the AHL right now, where Robertson's well over a point a game in the AHL. Like, and on top of that, look at Kiefer Bellows' NHL production from like last year. I think he had 8 points in 40 games.
Yeah.
Robertson's a better player, like plain and simple.
Also,
let's call up Kiefer Bellows for Nick Robertson. Let's call up a worse player for a better player, like, and send down the better player.
Even if you think that Kiefer Bellows could be better, just for long-term building of this team, we want to know what we have in Nick Robertson. We want to know if we want to, like, if this is a guy that we want to trade at the trade deadline to upgrade at left wing, right? Like, our answer is not coming from the AHL if we're looking to upgrade our roster. That is the last place we'd probably look, right? We'd be looking towards other teams to improve this team. And if anyone's going to go just based off of Yarncrook's play, based off of Domi's play, based off of Nice's play, based off of Bertuzzi's play, the guy in the top 9 who has to go is probably Nick Robertson. That's assuming he gets traded. If not, probably gets bumped down. But like, let's squeeze as much juice out of Robertson as possible. Let's get a good enough look at this guy to see, like, hey, who is he? What does he entail for us here? So,
what do you think he's worth?
That's a good question, right? Do you think he's so? We invested a 2nd round pick in him, plus we drafted in 2019, low second, plus 3-ish years of development time. Right now, he is a bottom 6 NHL player. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, with how he's playing, yeah.
So can we get a return on investment greater than a lower second than him? I don't know. I actually don't know. It's honestly such a tough thing. He's still, because the weird thing about him is that he's a young 22, right? He just turned 22. He's still a baby, basically, right? No. So he literally just turned 22.
Developing a little bit, but like how much more is there?
Exactly. How much more space how much more room does he have to grow, right? So not like literally tall. I'm just being like on the ice. But I don't know. That's actually a great question. Would you be able to get we saw, how about this? We saw Sam Lafferty go for a 3rd, right? Or was it a 5th? It was a 3rd. Fifth. Okay, it was a 5th.
Yeah.
So is Nick Robertson worth more than that? Probably. Right?
You'd think. I mean, like a 22-year-old, he has 9 points in 21 games. He's got a great shot. He can skate pretty well. I think he's pretty fast. What's he worth though? Like, this is his 4th season being in the NHL. Played 6 games, 10 games, 15 games, 21 games. So what is he actually worth if you were to trade him? I wonder. Is it more worth it just to keep him? Because you have nobody on the roster right now. You don't have anyone in the organization that is of third line quality right now. You'd have to get that externally. And who that is, I'm not too sure right now. But if you were to move him, like, I don't know. I wonder. And it would obviously not be a contending team. It would be like, like a lower end team. And so how much would you get from that lower end team? I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm looking through like some older trades here to try and find like a comp. And it's a really
22-year-old. Yeah.
It's really hard to find one, honestly. It is really hard to find like a comp, because a 22-year-old, like you said, 22-year-old forward, like the closest that comes to mind off the top of my head here is like Pierre Engel was a lot older when he was traded. He was traded for a 3rd.
Yeah.
right? I would say
it's
right
totally
now,
different player too, but yeah,
completely different. Right. But right now, Robertson's probably worse than Pierre Engvall.
He has less on ice value than Pierre Engvall right now. Correct. Yes.
So, but like, there's obviously a future there. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know. That's actually such a good question. we'll never really know his value unless he gets traded, which is so interesting. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I
just
guess
some thought that I had. I have no idea what he would be worth. It'd be what, a third maybe, just for potential. Like, is that worth it?
Like we saw Beauvillier go for a fifth
this year. Yeah, he's a few years older.
He's 26 though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to see if other trades like that happened over the last couple
Usually
of years.
A player like him though is in a bigger package. That's the issue. So you're never gonna really gonna fully know
what the value is.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look that up. Anyways, so with regards to last night's game, like I didn't think the Leafs played terrible. They didn't close out the game, but as you mentioned, like you just didn't get the bounces. I don't know how you can be overly upset about losing a game in December, a single game in December, over like puck bounces over Tyler Bertuzzi's stick when he has a wide open look. They outplayed Ottawa. This is not the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm confident if they play like that against Columbus, they'll slap the doors off of them.
For sure.
So
absolutely. And it's just, again, I think people just like have this because of the Buffalo Sabres loss is like so close in their mind. People just have this idea of like, oh, like we can't beat bad teams, right? But like that's
you haven't,
but that's such a like
Before we get into top 10, do you want to talk about that? Let's get into
yeah. So I want to talk.
Problematic that the Leafs cannot beat these lower end teams.
Yeah, is it so before we get into that though, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at DraftKings before we do. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there. Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbooks. If you're listening to this on Thursday or on Friday, we're recording this on Thursday. Leafs against the Blue Jackets right now. I've been doing, not betting advice, would not recommend this, but I've been doing this thing where I've bet the alt over when Ilya Samsonov is in net. So the over right now is at 7 plus 102. You can probably find a decent price on the alt over of like 8.5 and 9.5 in the plus 200 to 400 range. Could be interesting. Look, if that's what you're interested in. If not, don't worry about it. But if you are, download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 100 and 68 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE New York or text HOPE New York 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Not gambling advice, something that I've been doing. Anyways.
The over tomorrow. That's an interesting one. I bet all the Christmas Day unders for the NBA, and I lost all of them except for one.
That's funny. But yeah, let's get right into if it's a problem that the Leafs are losing to quote unquote bad teams, because hey, our favorite beat reporter, Jonas Siegel, I don't know what's happened to him over the last couple of years, but
he's a Dubasite.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
His prince left.
I always thought reporters are supposed to be unbiased, but and it's funny because these are the same people who used to call out Steve Simmons for doing his bullshit, right? And they're now just turning around and kind of doing the exact same thing, where it's just no substance, just all like reactionary content. But that's what gets clicks for The Athletic. That's what gets clicks for The Athletic. But yeah, Jonas Siegel released this article about us losing to bad teams. Is it a problem? I think it's we have 6 losses against some bad teams in the NHL.
Yeah, you lost against Chicago twice. You've lost against the Ottawa Senators now twice.
Yes.
They've lost against Buffalo now twice, who's down there. Yeah, Chicago, Panthers don't know. Rangers no. Penguins no.
Yeah.
Who else? So in overtime. Oh, and then overtime you've lost to Columbus, which is not a great team. And that's it. But So yeah, mainly it's just the issues are the Blackhawks, the Senators, and the Sabres.
So
right.
You're telling me that, what was that? You listed off eight losses there against bad teams, right? Leafs have 15 losses this year. I think that was 8 or 9, right? That means that they have 6 losses against playoff teams. And I would say that's a good thing. No? Am I crazy for thinking that? If you're losing against bad teams, logic is here to tell you you're probably winning against good teams. So is it a problem? I understand the narrative. These teams don't want to get up and play against these bad teams. They don't have the heart. They don't have the grit. Blah, 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 blah. But like, wake the fuck up. We're beating good teams. That's what should be important. Who cares about losing to bad teams? Are we going to, hey, guess what? We lose to bad teams. Ottawa's not going to be in the playoffs. Chicago's not going to be in the playoffs. They're not going to bother us. There's some formula that these bad teams have on us that are like, hey, we can beat them. Guess what? We're not going to play them when it matters most. Does it matter? No. Obviously, you know what? It does matter for getting points, but every team loses games. We just talked about it earlier. We saw Vegas Golden Knights, 4-game loss streak. You think they haven't lost to bad teams? They've obviously lost. Colorado Avalanche blew a 4-0 lead against the Arizona Coyotes and lost. They've lost.
We're in a playoff spot.
They're in a playoff spot. You can say what you will about that team. They've lost to the Kraken twice this year. The Colorado Avalanche. They're not in a playoff spot. Are they the Avalanche bad now? They've lost to Chicago as well. Every team in the NHL loses games to bad teams. It's an 82-game season. If you think you're going to beat every single team, you're deranged, you're delusional, you're lost. This is not as big of a deal as people are making it out to be, and I will stand on that. It's not. It doesn't matter. God, we lose to bad teams. Guess we're 9th. We're 9th in the NHL in points percentage. We're 3rd in the East in points percentage. Do you expect this team to get 65 wins? Sure, you can expect that. Only one team's ever done that in the history of the sport. But you can expect that out of them. It's not going to happen. I want it to happen, but it might not happen. You know, maybe if they beat these teams, maybe they do. But to me, this is a non-issue. This is just something that can get the public riled up. It's like a flaming hot talking point that will get people to click on an article. That's what it is to me.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Anyways. I think, yes. So to your point, yes, you are beating good teams. Did they beat Boston yet this year? Yeah.
They've lost twice in overtime.
Lost twice in overtime. Oh, shit. Okay. So you beat Florida. They're in second place right now. Like, you have beaten good teams. To your point, yes, you have beaten good teams, number one. Number two, you are going to lose games. Plain and simple, you're going to lose games. Have they been outplayed in every single one of these games that they've lost? Like the 2 Buffalo ones, yes, they got outplayed in those. The last 2, the 2 Ottawa losses, I thought they played pretty well up until, like the first one, I thought they played pretty well up until halfway through the third period, right? Last night's game, you look at the deserve to win a meter, you're at 65-34.
Yeah.
Like they played pretty well in that one. You're not going to get the bounces in every single game. The issue then becomes, it's not an issue right now, I would say, but the issue then becomes if you're fighting for your life to get into the playoffs at the end of the year, then sure, yeah, then like you'd like back some of those games, right?
Of course.
I think going back to your point, yes. So they've won games. They're losing to these bad teams. I think it's going to even out. I don't think they're playing bad against these bad teams. I think you're not getting good bounces. You're not getting timely saves. That happens. That's 100% just going to happen over an 82-game season. You still have to play like the Anaheim Ducks a couple times. There's a few other not good teams that they've not played. Anaheim. You haven't played the Oilers yet, but they're a pretty good team. You haven't played the Sharks yet. Blues. There's a couple bad teams you haven't played against. My prediction is it's all going to even out. Last year, a lot of people did also complain that, we're not getting up for the good teams. I'm looking at, like, you lost against Chicago. Okay, you lost 1 game to Chicago last year. Another thing to look at, last year, what was their record against Florida in the regular season?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
3-0-1. What happened in the playoffs?
They lost. They lost
Head
them
to head in the regular
4-0
season means
4-0
zippo. It means nothing.
Yeah.
Like last year's losses against, I don't know, like when you look at the Leafs record last year against teams like 2-2 against Detroit and 1-2 against Boston are the worst ones. Everyone else is either every other team, they're above a 500 points percentage. Actually, Arizona, they're 0-2. Vegas, they were a 250 points percentage. Boston, they were a 375. Everyone else was 500 and better. That's 3 teams. Yeah, you're going to want to make that up. Like, yeah, there is a scenario where you would like those points back. But, like, take a look. I don't know. Against other than Buffalo, I don't think they've been playing bad against these bad teams. Maybe
I think
the Columbus comeback was bad. So
I think that was well said, because I think that's the biggest thing here is, and that's kind of what I got lost in the sauce that I was talking about there. But like, that's the biggest point and biggest takeaway is process over outcome that we always preach here, right? It's like, are we losing? Why are we losing these games, right? Are we losing because we're playing poorly, or is it just, again, 82 game season?
Yeah,
variance comes into play, and you're just going to lose some of these games, and that's like the important thing here. It's
they played worse in the game they won against Ottawa than they did last night.
And that's part of my issue as well, is because it feels like there's just part of the reason why is because obviously the change in management maybe has stoked some flames in the media, right? With some of these, how some media members might have been treated from the previous regime. Maybe they feel loyalty to the previous regime. Anyways, that's kind of stoked the flames of like, it's always something negative, right? If the Leafs win, it's that they didn't play well in their win. They didn't deserve to win. But if they lose and they play well, that doesn't come into effect because they lost, right? It's all about perspective is everything, and you could just change. Like you can warp any perspective to fit your own narrative here, right? I like to always view things as a large sample. The process is what I want to see. And listen, obviously this isn't the best start to our year. I think if we were to look back at previous years from September to December, this is probably one of the worst expected goals wise starts. But the thing I'm seeing is over time, how have we played from September to October? How have we played from October to November? How have we played from November to December? I think we're progressively getting better. And I think that's the most important part here.
Yeah, exactly. So right now the Leafs are 17-9-6. So that's quick mental math, 32 games. Last year through 32 games, if we take a look at their record, they were 19-7-6. So
pretty close.
19-7-6 versus 17-9-6. So what? That's 4 points behind.
4 points behind.
Yeah. Okay. I will say, I will make a comment though.
Yeah.
The top 4 right now has Benoit in it. I don't know why.
That's injury. Injury plus we didn't
injury
expect
to who?
Giordano.
It's top 4 right now. Giordano's coming back. They're going McCabe Benoit next game.
Oh wow. Okay, well,
I don't understand why, but
placeholder, I guess.
For who?
The guy we trade for. I don't know.
Anyways. So, yeah. I think in summation, I don't think they played that bad last night. You're going to lose games. Plain and simple. It's been a bit of a tough run. 1-3. I don't think they've played horrendous over the last 4 games, though. I think they've outplayed the other team in 3 out of the 4 of them. Right? So, hopefully you can get a save from Samsonov on Friday. I think a couple saves will do it.
Hopefully not too many if you're in my shoes. But anyways, that you want to get into goals? No, I want to hear people's thoughts. Tweet at me. Let me know if you think it's a problem that this team is losing to bad teams. If so, why? If not, why not? Yeah.
Why
you want to get into
unless it's impacting you in the standings, unless you're outside of the playoffs right now, like.
Yeah,
I understand you're not getting home ice, but like it's preventing you from being top of the division. But like, I don't know. Like, if you lose games, you lose games. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're not winning every game. I think that's the best bow to put on it, and process over outcome as well.
Yeah,
process over outcome.
I would like to see Timothy Liljegren back in the top 4. I don't understand why Benoit's there.
Maybe it's a limit management thing, just to not put too much stress on the ligaments in the ankle, I guess. I don't know. Like, get him back to limit his minutes, get him back into proper shape. If that's the case as well, like, he shouldn't just play. Anyways.
I don't think it's that. I don't understand it. But
anyways,
Are you concerned that Riley Brody has been getting caved in recently?
Yes and no.
Why?
Yes, because
I don't even know how to answer
they've been obviously, like, they've been used against their toughest competition and used the most.
Mm-hmm.
So that, but then also, I don't know, I've always been under the belief that TJ Brody is better apart from Morgan Riley than they are together. So,
yes, yeah.
So there's always, I think our defense would look a lot better if they were split up. So short term, answer.
I didn't like it a few years ago, but I think Riley Liljegren is something you 100% need to try.
We'll take a look at it. We'll take a crack.
And honestly, for your optimized playoff defensive pairings, it's TJ Brody on the left side.
Yeah, and if the problem is that if TJ Brody is cooked, we have like way bigger problems than just like how the pairings need to shape out. So,
well, if he's
like,
cooked, then you have two slots that you need to fill in now.
Yeah,
two
right?
top 4 slots, which is
and the reason why
right
I bring
now
that
as
up,
it sits, he's at 48.11% expected goals for, and Morgan Riley's at 47.41.
Yeah, that's
pretty
good.
low.
So, but the reason why I say that though is because is it because of this pairing not working together? We've seen it work in the past, but also not work in the past. We've only seen it work for a couple of game stretches. It's a tough pairing. Anyways,
which is interesting though, because we've seen Keefe actually move away from it in the past. Like last year, they didn't play that much together, really. So I'm curious as to why this season they're glued together, right?
I think it's the lack of depth on defense and the lack of the crutch that is Justin Hall.
Maybe. Simon Benoit at one point this year had like a 60% expected goals for. His last, how many games is this? 1, 2, 3, 4 games. These were the expected goals for percent numbers: 43.51, 15.94, 23.06, and 47.7. So now let's put him in the top 4. Splendid. He is too slow to get to pucks to kill cycles. He cannot move the puck very well. He's not offensive at all. Pretty good at like defending the cycle. I will say that he's got a good stick. On defenseman with a good stick.
Good long
Shout
stick.
out Pierre Maguire. Yeah, good long stick. He's long. What was the Craig Button saying? You got to be long and hard or something like that.
Hard with your stick.
Your defense have to be long and hard or something like that.
Anyways. Your D has to be long and hard with the stick.
Yeah. So Simon Benoit being in the top 4, I would rather Lagesson than him.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, what would you like, garbage or trash?
Through hands last game. Respects. Fighting for his spot in the lineup. That's like, I think, underratedly been very good signing for the Leafs, which is, do you want to
for a 7th defenseman? Yeah. For a 7th defenseman, yeah. Like, it's crazy. Lajoie got called up last year by Carolina, and Lagesson did not.
Interesting.
And now, like, they're using Lagesson way more.
We know something they don't.
Way more than him. So I thought that was interesting. Anywho, top 10 list.
Top 10 list. Let's get into it.
Okay. Who is your number 10? Top 10 goals, Leafs goals of the year 2023. What was the kind of the criteria that you used for it?
I had a bunch of criteria. I wanted to get a little bit of everything in my top 10. So maybe that's kind of cheating of how you do a top 10.
Tell us what the criteria was.
I wanted to see some good individual efforts. I wanted to see some good team goals. I wanted to watch these goals and feel the emotion of like what was happening in my body and when I was watching that, when it actually happened live. That's what I was looking for. If it elicited an emotional response from me based on of what I saw previously. And my number 10 is so that's part of my criteria. And then I also was looking at, I guess, individual efforts, like I say, and then team goals. I wanted to see some. I didn't only want to have a list of just players doing their thing. Like we've seen a lot of those goals from like basically all of the studs on this team. I wanted to see some team effort goals here where maybe not every single player on the team touches the puck, but like a good amount of them do
Some
here.
good passing plays. For me, I did nice plays.
Yeah,
I did like really good play, like speed and skill is what I stuck to. Essentially, I was a little bit less of like the emotion or the like theatrics behind it or what was going on outside of the rink, that kind of shit, So yeah. Number 10
is a little mix of an individual effort and a team goal, I guess. I have the Austin Matthews goal against the New York Rangers. I don't have the exact date. It's number 11 though on the list. It's on it was on a delayed penalty. Austin Matthews dropped the puck to William Nylander. Nylander kind of picks it up in the neutral zone, beats a man, loses the puck kind of, but is able to protect the puck from two defenders to slip through, and then makes a very nice little slip pass to Matthews. Matthews buries it, and it's my 10th best goal of the year.
Okay. I did not have that one. I'm just going to say that right now. My number 10 of the year was Mitch Marner versus the Columbus Blue Jackets in the 5-goal comeback where he got the puck from Tavares, went through the legs, and was able to slip it through Elvis Merzlikins. I think just the ability to do that in tight. I know he missed it. He flubbed on it, but it went in. It looked really nice. And because he flubbed on it, that's why it went in. So
yeah, it was a nice goal. I liked it. I had that as my 11th, so just missed for me. Next one for me, number 9. This is a newer one. Happened this past season. It's the Domi to Robertson versus Ottawa.
Okay.
And that's part of this one. Filled 2 of those criteria for me, where it elicited a positive emotional reaction, and then also it was like a team effort. And I was also at this game, so maybe it's a little bit special to me. But for those who don't remember, we're not going to talk about that.
They lost.
But for those who don't remember, I think Domi made a play in the defensive zone, chipped the puck up. Yarn Crook kind of shielded the puck. Domi was able to get to it, got tripped, ended up on his knees, did his little saucer pass, which wasn't the best saucer pass. It was more like a shot at Robertson. Robertson was able to bat it out of the air and score. Thought that was a pretty cool goal. From my angle, it was pretty nasty to see Robertson hit that puck out of the air. So
it was out of midair too. It was a great hand-eye play. I did not have that one though. My number 9 is Tavares' overtime winner against Florida in Florida during the 2022-23 season. If you remember it, it was after Samsonov made a huge save, and then they had the stupid ESPN, like, when they have the names above their head while the play is going on. They had that going on for some dumb reason. But crazy. I thought the backhand goal by John Tavares on that one, I thought was pretty nasty. So number 9 for me.
Wait,
number 8.
John
Tavares overtime winner.
Oh, okay.
Against Florida.
Yes. In game.
No. Regular season.
Okay.
Samsonov's last start of the regular season.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you were talking about a different one. Okay.
No. Number 8.
Number 8 for me?
Yep.
It will be the Matthew Nyes Florida playoff goal. The one where he did like
he missed it
dance
and it went behind.
And the backhand in. For those who don't remember, maybe I'm not describing that well enough here, but I guess Nyes just came in the offensive zone, tried to pull it forehand, like missed it, I guess, spun around and hit it with his backhand, something weird like that. It was a fun goal to watch. I think that was his first goal of the playoffs, right? No, that wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It was? It was his first goal of the playoffs. Whatever. Just reminded me of it was just a fun moment in that 2023 playoff run. I don't know. Did you have it on your list?
No. I haven't had any of yours on my list so far.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe I have a bad
That was a nice pass from Matthews on that play.
Team effort. Good of an individual effort as well.
Yeah, exactly. My number 8 is Mitch Marner's shorthanded goal against New Jersey in New Jersey last year. So the 2023 season.
I like that goal. That was a good one. That one also just missed the list for me as well. That was a good one.
Yep. Yeah, so let's go to number 7.
Yeah, we can do number 7. For me, it was the Nylander versus Florida OT goal. When it was 4-4, Timmins drop pass to Nylander. Nylander just uses his speed to beat guys wide. The problem with me is that it felt like there were some duplicate plays here. Not duplicate, but there were some, let's call them like plays that were very similar. So it was hard. I didn't want to have. There were a bunch of Nylander fantastic OT goals.
Nylander scored the same goal against the Wild 3 different ways.
Right. So like it's hard to do. So I just kind of picked the coolest ones. And that Florida one I thought was pretty cool as number 7 for me. Who do you got at number 7?
Number 7 for me is Matthews' goal in Boston, the 3-2 loss. I think it was Matt Murray started that game where he starts the play by batting it all the way down the ice. The Leafs are able to force a turnover. And then Matthews dipsy doodles walks in down Broadway and puts it underneath the bar on Linus Ullmark. If you watched it from the Bruins broadcast, it was the color guy. I'm not sure his name. It wasn't Jack Edwards. Was so complimentary of the goal because he said that Ullmark is the best goalie in the world. And wow, Austin Matthews just scored on the best goalie in the world. That must have been, it was a really, really nice goal. So it was a nice goal only because he scored on the best goalie in the world. Thought that was kind of funny.
I have that one on my list. That was a good one. I like that one.
Okay. Finally.
Moving on to 6.
Yep.
I have JT scoring against Calgary. I feel like you don't have this one on your list. I like this one because
it was William Nylander back pass from behind the net. I don't have this one.
Just was a good moment all around watching this.
Oh my
God. What? You don't
like I'm very curious what you have for this top 5 because I have not had any of your number.
We're probably going to have similar top 5s then.
I hope, but it seems like you're leaving out so many nice goals here.
But here, the thing is that there were so many like duplicate goals that like I didn't.
So you just only included one?
Yeah. If they were similar, I'm not including another one of those on the list. Hey, my rules. Who do you have at number 6?
You should see one of the other lists I got. It's pretty funny, the top 4. But anyways, number 6 was Mitch Marner's OT winner against New York in Toronto. This happened in the 2023 season. Just really nice, flying through the air, slipped it past Shesterkin. I thought it was a really nice goal.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep. Number 5.
Number 5, you mentioned it before on this list. I have it. The AM versus Boston goal.
Okay.
The fills the criteria of like sick team effort. And then good little hands there from Matthews with the bat out of his own zone, retrieving the puck for Marner. Marner, I think, gives it to, was it Bunting?
Yeah, Bunting got in on that one.
And then Matthews with the disgusting finish. That was a great goal. All right.
I have number 5, William Nylander versus Minnesota in October at Scotiabank Arena. That one where he dances the defenseman, walks in, pulls it across, and slips it past Philip Gustafson. Thought that was an excellent display of skating and hands.
Which Nylander goal is this?
Nylander versus Minnesota 2023-24. It was during like regulation play.
Okay, so not the OT goal.
No.
Not the one of 3 OT goals.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, this top 5 is very heavy Nylander.
Yeah, I have the Nylander for number 4 for myself. I have the Nylander OT goal in Sweden. as my number 4 on the list.
Your number 4, you have the Sweden one. Whoa.
Yes. And
That's
I believe you think that's low?
That's very low.
So it's funny because I actually had you're talking about, wait, hold on. Fuck, he scored so many goals against Minnesota. I have another one against Minnesota.
3.
I think it's the other one in my
OT?
top 5. Yeah.
I have that one too.
The other. Right. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, I liked this goal just because, again, Nylander in Sweden. It's a good little special moment. And I think my favorite thing was like he literally put I forget who it was in like a spin cycle where the way he went like in and out between the dot lines at like right at the blue line, like he covered east-west so much ice in like such a short amount of space that he like just completely put Buddy in a blender and beat him wide to score. So I thought it was a pretty sick one there from Nylander. So yeah, Nylander, number 4 versus Minnesota in Sweden for me.
Fleury tried the poke check on, didn't work. Number 4 for me is Nylander versus Florida 2022-23. It was the overtime winner that he scored in during the regular season. The one where he's coming around the boards and he trips and falls and he ends up like planking on the ice.
That was my 7th.
That was again a very similar goal to some of the other ones, but
he just burns everyone wide in overtime. It's crazy. Give him a 1-on-1 at the blue line, he'll probably beat you.
Oh yeah, 4-on-4 and 3-on-3 hockey. He's like the best player. He's got to be top 10 in the league.
It's crazy. It's disgusting.
Number 3.
Number 3 for me is the Marner versus Edmonton pick off spinorama goal. That was a top 3 moment for me. That was disgusting. Disgusting for me on multiple levels. 1, obviously the interception, which was crazy. 2, the spinorama. 3, the backhand forehand. Spinorama, 2 backhand forehand. Roof, freaking putting everybody blending.
Yeah.
So that was
my number 3 is William Nylander versus Minnesota in overtime at Scotiabank Arena, where he strips the puck from Frederick Gaudreau. He brings it, drives the net, and is able to slip it underneath Philip Gustafson's glove. That was just some nasty handles. That
was disgusting. And then just to close that one out, that was my number 2 goal. I love
number 2.
I love defensive efforts. Defensive efforts make me, I don't know if this is corny to say, but yeah, that word. I love the good defensive efforts. I love watching people strip pucks. And Nylander just did a great job on this one. Like he like almost got away with like a good maneuver. Like it was like a 50-50 puck battle. He did like a little thing behind the back, or he almost got the puck, lost it. It was like a 2-on-2 guys in the corner for Minnesota, but then just stripping Gaudreau, like you said, beating his man and just making, was it Fleury or Gustafson? And that just looked absolutely redonkulous there. Top 2 for me.
Yeah. My number 2 is the Marner versus Edmonton. Just the pick off midair. The move that he makes there was some slick little handles there. So that's my number 2. Who's your number 1?
Marner. Okay, that's funny. We had the 3 and 2 swapped.
Yeah.
For each other. For me, it was like, I think it was like your number 10, but it was the Tavares overtime goal against Florida.
That's your number 1?
Yeah. I like that. I don't know. It was just like crazy to me. I don't know.
Why? Because of the save before? Or?
Yeah, just the emotions of it. I don't know. It's just one of the high points of the year for me.
God.
Watching that.
That's your number 1. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my number 9.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I can't describe it.
Your fancy.
When I watched it, it just elicited like a ton of emotions in me and made me feel happy. It was just like the back and forth from that game was just a lot of fun. I guess. I don't know. This is just what I remember.
Yeah, my number 1 is Nylander versus Minnesota in Sweden, 2023-24 season. Where, again, you had it number 5. I don't understand how.
Number 4. I like
you had it too low.
I like the one where he strips the guy better.
Really?
Am I crazy? Yeah.
Yeah. Then you get the reaction from his dad and his family.
Fair.
I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, my top 10, Nylander versus Minnesota, overtime in Sweden. Marner versus Edmonton, 2022-23. Nylander versus Minnesota, overtime last season. Nylander versus Florida in overtime. Nylander versus Minnesota, regulation time. Marner versus New York in overtime. Matthews versus the Bruins in January of 23. Marner against the Devils, shorthanded, number 8. Number 9, Tavares, overtime against Florida. And number 10, Marner versus Columbus.
Yeah, love it. That was fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully people don't roast me for my... I don't know. I like just watching that first goal, the one I have first on my list of John Tavares. It just, I don't know. Maybe people disagree with me. I don't know. There was just something about that game with the back and forth in overtime.
Okay.
Something about it
makes sense. It was, I don't know. When you
it was
set
exciting.
the scene, I guess, yeah, it was exciting.
And it like brought back a bunch of happy memories for me. So
what the
I don't know.
That overtime winner just mentally did a number on you.
No, it just it elicited like a good emotion. So, it's like something you can't tangibly feel. It's just weird. Anyways,
just turned your life around. Like, oh my God.
It gave me new purpose.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people would be expecting the Tampa Bay Game 6 overtime goal. Listen, it was just a spin and shoot. Like, it was a very important goal.
That one could be one for me too, honestly.
Yeah. My top 5 in terms of like storytelling, setting the scene goals this year. There's going to be some crossover with this list we did, but like the happy-go-lucky goals to me this year would have been number 1, John Tavares, obviously Game 6, overtime winner. Number 2, I guess you could say, was just the rest of the overtime goals in the playoffs, like the Alex Kerfoot tip, or what were the other overtime winners? Tavares, Kerfoot, Morgan Riley. I think it was Morgan Riley. So I'll lump those into number 2 there. Number 3 would have been Nylander's overtime winner in Sweden with his dad going, ooh. Number 4 would have been Tyler Bertuzzi throwing the body on Justin Hall and getting the puck, making a beautiful backdoor pass for the winner against Detroit. And number 5, probably the one you mentioned, your favorite goal of all time, the Florida one, just because of the back and forth and such.
I appreciate you throwing that in there. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's just my quick, I didn't even think about it beforehand. Top 5 like storytelling goals of the season. But yeah. Anyways, covered a lot this episode.
Yeah, it was a good one. Hopefully people have Happy New Year and enjoy their little holiday stretch here.
2024.
2023 in the books, 2024. Onwards and upwards, I guess, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's all we have. PWHL starts January 1st. So
tune in.
Go and support. Thanks everyone for listening.
Go Leafs, go.